Hello, friends. Welcome back. I had some thoughts this morning I wanted to share about Taurus, the sign of the bull. It's the second sign of the zodiac, and it deals with wealth, self-esteem, finances, liquid wealth, liquid assets, just like how the cow has milk that can trade for anything you want. So it symbolizes cash or easily tradable resources that can give you what you want. So Taurus, the bull, is a sign of self-esteem and a sign of wealth and a sign of prosperity and our wealth capacity. Now, just to be clear, the ancient texts describe Taurus as a quadruped and not as a bull or a cow particularly. So it's either or. It's basically an ox, any sort of thing that is a quadruped that works the earth. But a cow is probably the most perfect example because the horns are really only part of the male to protect, the cows and the family and everything. So the cow really is a better symbol because it's uh, something that just selflessly gives and doesn't harm anything. And that's what Venus is about giving and harmony and not causing injury to others. And basically Venus is the planet of, the planet that you want when you want to see a win-win situation that helps both parties. That's a Venus partnership or a Venus deal being done. Mercury is also a planet of business and partnerships and trade, and Mercury is a trader, a Vaishya planet, but Mercury doesn't have the same degree of moral foundation and is so easily changeable, as you may know. Mercury can become cruel when he's with cruel planets or gentle when he's with a gentle planet, like Jupiter or something. But so Mercury does trades that are for him to win the game of life, for him to get the best deal. So Mercury is the planet that makes one a little bit more of a trickster or a hustler or a swindler of some sort. But Venus is the planet that gets you involved in wanting to make deals that are for the best for both parties, as long as that Venus is healthy, of course, in good conditions and avashtas, and you got to hire an astrologer to figure all that out with your chart with respect to that, or you have to learn it yourself. But that is how that goes. Now, the thing that I mainly wanted to talk about, that's kind of basic information that most astrologers should have. I hope these cicadas don't get too loud. They've been getting really loud lately. I might have to go inside if so. But this shouldn't be too long of a video. But the main thing that I wanted to talk about was Taurus, the cow, the bull, and then this neat connection to Wall Street. Wall Street actually has a big statue of a bull that was put in like I think the late 80s or the early 90s, and has this image of a charging bull. And then we also see the bull associated with as the symbol for a big bank called Merrill Lynch, which is a partner of a part of Bank of America, from what I read, from when I Googled it. You Google that now. I'm not going to go and put a picture on here because I'm not going to bother with that, because you can just Google that if you want to know that. But it's that bank that has a symbol of a bull on it. And then you also might have learned, I remember learning this when I was growing up, that there were the bears and the bulls when it came to the stock market and finances and how different people looked at the flow of money. Um, so why does the bull and the cow keep coming up? I think it's because the cow, this goes back to when astrology was more a part of our culture. Because in the old days, all of the educated people, the people who made decisions, big financial decisions, the people who were on Wall Street, the movers and shakers of the world, those people, they did astrology. They studied astrology. That was what you did. That was what the intelligentsia did ever since the Renaissance in Europe. Read the poems of Shakespeare. There are hundreds of references to astrology. Read any of this stuff. that's what I wanted to start doing some videos about, was about astrology and our culture, and how astrology is actually deeply ingrained and embedded all throughout our culture. Even though, Christianity, I love the Bible and I love Christ, but even though Christianity as an organized religion really did a lot to squash astrology, but there are still a lot of remnants of that. This bull symbolism and this bull and cow connection to wealth is a good piece of evidence for that. So, why does the bull become a symbol of Wall Street? Because the bull symbolizes wealth and finances, and particularly liquid wealth and moving wealth and money around. And that's all that Wall Street is doing. That's all that the stock market is a way to move money around and to make money off of it. So, if you don't yet see the connection as to why the cow, the quadruped, stability, the ancient symbol of wealth, is still being used as a symbol of wealth in the modern world, then you just need to learn more about Taurus and the zodiac and stuff. Because astrologers, people who know this stuff, they're like, oh, bam, of course it's a bull that would be on Wall Street, Of course it's a bald eagle that would represent America. You know what I mean? The eagle is the sun and represents spirit and all of our manifest destiny type stuff. We're a very solar country here. Um, so that's how that relates. One of the most interesting things about Taurus is that it is a quadruped, and then that quadruped quality symbolizes wealth and stability. And so the deeper meaning is that it symbolizes self-worth. And people who have a good self-worth, they have good Taurus things going on, good Venus things going on, and good second house things going on. The second house acts like the second sign, Taurus. And is his Venus's other sign is Libra, the scales. And so Venus, she's all about valuation and weighing the options of things, and that's what the scales symbolize. The scales are, Libra, which is a merchant in a bazaar, weighing the options. So then we can kind of see that, oh yeah, okay, a good Venus, Venus is the heart chakra. A good Venus is something that helps us balance and find equilibrium in life and get the best, most fulfilling choice without breaking the rules or without harming another person. That's what Venus is about. So people who want that but then go about and hurt other people as a result, that is a sign of an afflicted Venus somehow. Also, another important planet of prosperity and your flow of prosperity is the moon. Are you able to connect to your resources or not? That has a great deal to do with the moon, and the moon happens to be exalted in Taurus. So again, we see a major connection. And also the moon relates to the stock market. The moon rules the masses and the mass trends. Moon has a lot to do with that. And so there's actually someone who did research some time ago. This was years ago. I wouldn't be able to pull this up now probably, but there was someone who researched the stock market and found that the phases of the moon were really strongly connected to general ebbs and flows and trends within the stock market. And the moon rules ebbing and flowing, and the moon rules rhythm and all that. So the moon being exalted in Taurus puts even more emphasis on Taurus being a sign of prosperity and all this stuff. Oh my goodness. Okay. Great blue heron just landed in the yard, so that must be true. Another interesting thing to note is that there is a Chinese quadruped type figure, a Kirin, I believe it's called in Chinese myth, that also relates to prosperity. One more thing to note is that if you actually want to read the stock market and see how good someone is at running the stock market, don't just look at Taurus and the things I mentioned earlier. Also look at the D4 chart, the Chaturtamsha. Look at the fourth house in the Rashi and in that Varga, and then look at Mercury and the fourth from Mercury, and even more things. But that's what you got to look at if you want to look at the stock market and see how good you will do on it. All right. Thanks, y'all. Here's a little. Here's the heron. You don't believe me? There he is. You can see him there. Oh, yeah. Okay. Bye, y'all.